wanted to be able to lift up some energy in here. This is day 2. We're going in, we're going to do a deeper dive. And I want to just reaffirm the atmosphere of what we started with yesterday. One thing that we wrapped up when we talked about, first of all, identifying how you are a leader now. Your current capacity and leadership potential that we're going to embrace and tap into. What we'll talk about today, has anyone ever heard of an abundance mindset? To think abundantly. Anyone have some ideas on what that could mean? If I have an abundant mindset? Okay, well let's start here. What does it mean to have a scarcity mindset? Come on, I want to hear you. Scarcity mindset will be, I don't have enough. Scarcity mindset will be, I can't do this. Scarcity mindset will say, no one will believe me, no one will listen. Remember we tapped in a little bit about what fear is, and how fear is a liar? Like you have to tell fear is a liar. Because those suggestions will come to make you freeze. And when I coach my scholars, I'm a leadership coach. When I coach my scholars, we have to deal with something called imposter syndrome. Anyone heard of that before? Raise your hand. Imposter syndrome. When you may feel like something about who you are is not enough. Does that feel familiar? You may look at your friends and say, well, I don't have this and I don't have that, so I'm not good enough. Well, I'm not worthy enough. How did I get in this place? When you get into school and you go through looking for sponsors, you may feel like, oh, I can't go, I can't continue school. Nobody's going to sponsor me. Anybody have heard that before from your friends? I got to find something else to do. No one's going to believe in me and what I want to do. But this is what we're dealing with this mindset shift. Because oftentimes we might be able to big up our friend, right? If we have a good friend that is going through something, we're like, oh, you got this, you can make it, you can go through anything, and we can be the best motivator for someone else. But when it comes to our own self-talk, we are the worst enemy to ourselves. Because we're saying, oh, we don't look good enough, our clothes aren't good enough, we're ugly, we don't do this for ourselves, but we can't do that, and that's a negative mindset. That goes into that scarcity. And I know I have some faith beliefs. Who has faith in here? Just raise your hand. Faith. So there's a part of having faith and being faithful that sometimes we don't apply to ourselves. We can have faith for somebody else. We can have faith that you could be that inventor. And I might have an idea in my head to invent, and I'm like, nah, that's his thing. Only he can do that, because that's him. Too many times in my life, I would have to deal with that with myself. Not having confidence in myself. I know it might not sound like it today, but that's because I shifted from having the scarcity mindset to abundance. Knowing that the great I am created me in his image. And if I am created with that fullness to be a creator, then I have that same power within me that I believe that is in he who created everything. Are you following me? Yeah, and I'm getting some sad nods. Y'all gotta talk to me. I treat this like church. Come on now. It's okay, yes. Let's get free in here. Because I don't want you to leave the same. Because this is one opportunity you're going to see me. Some of you, this may be the only opportunity in your lifetime that you may see me. And I don't want to miss an opportunity to meaningfully connect with you and give you something that is life-changing. Now, I'm going to give you the information, but it's totally up to you to apply it. We call it practical application. So I'm going to deal with the practicality of what I'm going to talk about, but I want you to find yourself in my story. So one of the things I lifted up yesterday is the power of lived experience expertise. The things that you survive. I am a product of a single parent home. I didn't grow up with my mother and my father. I grew up with my mother only. I grew up in what we call in the United States projects or poverty. I didn't grow up having everything. I didn't grow up eating 3 meals a day. I didn't grow up having everything I needed to go to school. But today you look at me and you're like, well, what happened? It became a me thing. I couldn't blame anybody else. I couldn't blame my mom for my stuff. I'm a survivor of sexual abuse. I can't blame my mom for that. I can't hold on to that and not continue my life because of what she did or didn't do for me. And that's that scarcity part shifting to empowerment. Because I took my pain and turned it into something that I could have power with. How many of you would rather take your pain and turn it into power? Yeah? Yes. So when we look at the things that pain us, the things that hurt us, the things that were intent to steal, kill, and destroy us, we can use those things to propel us and give us energy and power to be the change we want to see. How many change makers do I have in here? Well, I'm going to give you one key thing that is the mastery of all change makers. It is changing our mindset. And when we look at this in the aspect of abundance, that means that everybody put your hand in your chest. Repeat after me. I have everything I need.
I have everything I need
Inside of me.
inside of me.
Now look at the person beside you. I want you to look at that person and say, you have inside of you that can help me be a better me. Do you believe that? Yes.
Yes.
Yes. And this is what an abundance mindset shift is. Because it's not necessarily about competition. I'll tell you something else that with the abundance mindset. Sometimes when we look at equity and equality, I know we have a lot of conversations here around gender equity. Everybody following me? Girls being equal to boys and having the same chances and opportunities. Well, in America, we have that dynamic, and we also have a dynamic of people with power not wanting to share resources with those that don't have the same amount of power. Can y'all relate to that? Yeah. Okay. So with abundance mindset, and this is something we got to take on, even with ourselves, with the gender battles that culture may pit against one another, is that a strong woman does not equal concession to a weak man. Does that make sense? And that when we have this opportunity for a woman to be empowered, it doesn't take anything from the men being less empowered. Are we following?
Yes.
So a scarcity mindset would be, I can't possibly allow this woman to grow in her capacity because it's going to take away an opportunity from me. For in the United States, there's something called affirmative action. And that's when black people had to give access to get certain jobs, also having to get access to get brought into school or having places in school based on the skin color. That was a way for it to create equity. People fought against that for a long time because those that were in control and had power felt like something was being taken away from them. But with an abundance mindset, we have to change our thinking with that to know that we are all full of potential. This goes back to that brilliance inside of us. So we all have something inside of us that if given the right opportunity and it's given that chance to shine, we can all be contributors to our community to create a better space. Now, I saw yesterday we have some advocates in the room, right? We have some community leaders in the room. So there's a lot of hard work when it comes to trying to explain what your priorities are and how people need to look at health and well-being, how we look at creating spaces for young men and young women to both grow. And so I want to bring this as an opportunity to look at an abundance mindset. Because when I talk about leadership styles, it's not going to be gender-based. I'm not saying a girl version of leadership and a boy version of leadership. This is what leadership is and this is what it looks like. So I want to make sure that before we jump into that conversation, we can understand where our mindset could be. You couldn't believe that before you walked in today, but we're going to leave today with an abundant mindset that we can apply to ourselves to create the change we want to see. How many of you want to create change? Yes! Okay, so this is how we're going to do it. So again, scarcity is thinking in the means of lack and you're losing something, right? Abundance is I have everything I need and the person beside me has as something that could benefit my growth too. So how do we tap into that? So does anybody have any examples or know of leadership styles that you've experienced or that you use or that you aspire to? Heard of dictatorship? That's a leadership style. That is very strong, overexerting power. Are they partners? Do they tend to be working with you while you're doing stuff? No. What about servant leadership? Who's familiar with servant leadership? What is servant leadership? What does servant leadership sound like it might be?
Serve people.
A servant leader is a leader that serves the people. Mostly we can say for us, our religious leaders, they can be servant leaders because they serve and seek the best interest of those they are serving.
Yes, absolutely. Did you have your hand raised? No. So servant leadership, our leadership is a leadership style where you have a partner or an ally. And in this case, religious leaders. They're the ones that are right beside you, helping you, show you how to do a cleanup, or how to help feed the hungry, or helping find the lost, or evangelizing. Those servant leaders are those that are getting beside you and working with you while accomplishing a goal. Now, if you had a choice between servant leadership and dictator or authoritarian leadership, which one would you like to serve with? Servant leadership. Servant leadership is associated with abundant mindset. Because I don't lose my power as a leader coming to help serve you. For me, I combine servant leadership with authentic leadership. That means authenticity. That means your real self. That means transparency. That means I want you to relate to me, not see me as something higher than you. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So if I can bring my authentic self, I'm an author too, and my book is called While I'm Getting Naked, Here in My Shorts. Before we make it taboo, the while I'm getting naked is the stripping away of the things that are holding me back. The things that I've been holding on to, hiding under, the things that have been dim in my life, the weight of things that I've been carrying, thought I was alone. This is me peeling back the layers of those things and being my authentic self. That way, in being my authentic self, I don't struggle with being an imposter. Because the Shemeka you see here today is the same Shemeka you're going to see in the classroom, it's the same Shemeka you're going to see in the street, it's the same Shemeka you're going to see on the stage of 10,000. Because I know what it feels like to feel shame. I know what it feels like to be uncomfortable. I know what it feels like to not feel like I'm enough. But when I got into the reality of that I am brilliant, and there is something inside of me that other people can benefit from, then I'm not hiding that anymore. I know there's something in my story that some of you in here can relate to and connect to. If I don't ever tell it, you don't even see someone that has ever come out. That makes sense? So being an overcomer puts me in a space where I can share what I've gone through, the trials I have survived, and what it is to be able to overcome. Now you see what I like to call what's possible. So when we look at the steps of what you all saw, even yesterday with Michael talking about power and knowing yourself, part of knowing yourself is understanding how do you want other people to receive you? How do you want to lead? How do you want other people to work with you? When you need help with something, and this I want to hear from you all. When you all need help, are you comfortable asking for help? Yeah?
Yeah. So.
No? Yes, it's hard, right?
Not in all cases.
So there's a part of asking for help that also leaves us sometimes vulnerable. And we're afraid to hear that two-letter word of
No.
Wow, yes, that is like a curse word, right? No. So I used to sell cosmetics at one time, and they would teach us, well, If you could get 10,000 no's, keep asking because you could get 5,000 yeses. And then after that fifth no, that sixth person could give you a yes. So that's connected to that graciously aggressive component. So this is coming also into not quitting. Let's go to feeling no. So you ask someone something and they tell you no. And that's when fear comes in. I told you shouldn't say nothing. You shouldn't even ask. As a matter of fact, that good girlfriend went and told 3 other people about what you asked for. Because you needed help. You became vulnerable. You were transparent. And then that person took advantage of your vulnerability and shamed you. Even in that truth, you have to keep pushing. Because fear will start talking in your ear and have you never asked for help. And you, it's so funny, I think about this. You ever heard of the bag lady? India already has a song called Bag Lady, but it's a person that's carrying around a whole bunch of bags. No, I don't want no help. And they're dragging stuff. Now they're slow, moving slow. Why? Because they don't want to ask for help because they have been rejected so much. They have been hurt so much. And so carrying that extra stuff over time weighs you down. You lose your positivity. You lose your posture. You lose your power. You lose your energy. And now you're carrying so much. When we talk about mental health, it was tapped on a little bit. Mental health and wellness, when we think about leadership, when we think about our own personal capacity, if we're not taking care of ourselves, that means in some cases being vulnerable. That means asking for help. If you all felt pressure, do you know who you could talk to? Like if you were feeling depressed or sad, do you all have trusted people you can talk to? Raise your hand if you do. Okay. So first off, safe space, the organization that is co-leading this is your safe space now. This is where you can go to get help and support. But there are situations and times where you may not feel trusting, you may not feel like you can trust those around you. This organization is here for that. They're here to give you that support. They are here to provide that safe space so that you can find and identify someone to lean on when you are going through. We are not meant to carry burdens upon ourselves alone. We're really not supposed to hold them at all. I think, there's a scripture that says, take my yoke upon you, for my yoke is easy and my burden is light. We don't have to quote that, right? We don't apply it to ourselves. We believe somebody else to have that power. We believe somebody else to be entrusted with that. But it is something that we have to practically apply to ourselves. So when we're feeling sad or we're feeling overwhelmed, if we don't reach out to someone, that stuff can beat us down over time, and it comes into mental illness, depression, feelings of anxiety, feeling like you're isolated and alone. And if you don't talk to someone, then that can lead to more detriment. So as a leader, you may be that person that the people around you lean on. Back at home, I am a leader in every aspect, whether it's community, whether I'm, the CEO of my own firm, I lead staff, I lead people in community, I lead in my family. That's a lot of weight to carry. But I also have trusted people that I can lean on when it feels too heavy for me. Because sometimes I have to be that container or holder for other people so that they can get their breakthrough. But if I'm that confidant for other people and I don't have an outlet, over time, do you think I can still keep moving? Now, do you think I can still jam? No, because I'm going to be carrying other people's stuff. And when we look at ourselves as leaders, there may be moments where we have to lift up ourselves. And that means reaching out for help. That means being vulnerable. And the more energy we put into being an authentic self and making those meaningful connections, we have that opportunity to live in an abundance mindset of freedom. That even though I'm being vulnerable right now to ask for help, that it doesn't make me a bad person, it doesn't make me lesser than the next person, it doesn't make me any less valuable. So we have to be able to be comfortable. And I say that to save your life. Because when we think about self-care and well-being, if we're not taking care of ourselves, we're no benefit to our community, we're no benefit to our family, we're no benefit to those that we're leading. Y'all following? Y'all seeing the connection?
Yeah.
I'm gonna press pause. Are there any questions about what we've said so far? Yes, you have a question?
You said you need time to give question, but not presently.
No, oh, okay. I thought you had a question right now. Just wanna make sure we follow. I don't wanna lead anyone, because we have different levels of awareness. I wanna make sure that we're following along so that everyone can stay connected. Okay, what are your self-care practices? How do you take care of yourself now? What are some things you do to take care of yourself?
What you eat?
What? You had something to say?
Of course, I do wash, to take care of myself.
Personal hygiene?
Yeah.
Yes. Self-care? Yes, absolutely. What else?
Education.
I rest and go out.
Okay, rest and go out. Now, are we saying we go out and drink, or we go out and dance? Because we're not going to encourage the drink. That's not self-care. That's self-medicating. But the dancing, getting the energy out, yes. Being around people you love, yes, that is a form of self-care. What are some other things we do for self-care?